Ladies and gentlemen, it's episode 2 of Head to Head, and it's the 4-door special. Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Head to Head. Now, we've been, searching through the old YouTube, and we've been reading your comments after episode 1, and some people weren't happy, Josh.
It's obvious to see people want to see these cars go around the track or do a rip somewhere or do a burnout, which we would too.
Absolutely, but unfortunately, these guys who own the cars have real jobs and they have to come down after 6 o'clock in Mandela to show them off, which means it's after the noise curfew here. However, and that means we argue without these cars being turned on, which I think is okay. I mean, they were kind of just going by spec and aesthetics. However, in our track battle section of this channel, we will be ripping some cars, and if you guys like any of the cars you see on Head to Head, we're going to bring them back later in the year and just give them a massive amount of time to shred on the track. So the more you guys like any of these cars, the more we're going to convince the owner to come down, give them some tires, and then go absolutely bananas for your viewing pleasure. But we are on episode 2 of Head to Head, and this is a show where me and Josh argue over which car is best. We each get a category, and we got to pick the winner of that category. This week's category is the 4-door special. I think I'm going to win this week again because I've brought something a little bit unique, something a little bit different. A 4-door R34 Skyline, but not just any 4-door R34 Skyline, because there's loads of them in Ireland and the UK, but this one is running a crazy Euros body kit from Japan. And the reason it's running that body kit, Josh, is because this car was originally created for the Tokyo Auto Salon years ago by the legend Ken Nomura to show off this brand new body kit that Euros, which he's involved with, and one of his companies was trying to actually build. So it was actually a show car originally that ended up being imported by WKD Imports in Carlow years ago. And you'll never guess who the first owner of this car maybe 10 years ago was?
You.
It was me. So I actually know quite a bit about this car.
I knew that before.
Yeah, so this car has resurfaced. Brian Stone from Stone Motorsport now owns it. I hadn't seen this car in years, and then all of a sudden we were at the Irish Motor Festival last year, and boom, there she is in all her glory. It is so badass on the road. Really, really long. It's like the longest 4-door car, I think, the R34 Skyline you can get. And this one obviously started life as a 2-litre automatic, but now beautiful pearl paint job on there, a little white. That's the same color from the S15 Nissans, which is a nice little, keeping it in the stable with the color. But my favorite part of this car, and I'm going to start strong this time, Josh. I'm not even waiting around until the end.
So you're going straight away for
straight under the bonnet straight away, because the most iconic, I'd say probably the most iconic and sought after Japanese car.
So what would this be usually?
Oh, this was a 2-litre automatic, a completely rubbish engine, automatic, terrible, like a Nissan Primera.
This is almost like the granny version of the car then?
Yeah, it's like a Nissan Primera but bigger, essentially, like a terrible car. But this car, if I can open the bonnet on it, which is going to be a little bit tricky, oh no, is actually an RB26 from an R34 GTR. So, now it's a little bit corroded. It's been sitting under some trees for some years, but it's a nice spec. It's a simple spec. Aftermarket ECU, full straight through exhaust, and it has got a full HKS induction kit.
So this is essentially an R34 replica.
Exactly. So if you think about it, an R34 GTR is like the car everybody wants, right?
Yeah.
But you take a 4-door version of it, but you put the same running gear. However, instead of 4-wheel drive, it's converted to rear-wheel drive, which is the fun wheel drive. So this is an R34. This engine, low mileage, only 74,000 kilometers on this R34 engine. So this was out of a very, very fresh car years ago and put into this one. And it has a few upgrades around it, upgraded oil pump, but nothing too crazy because the car itself and the engine itself is pretty crazy. So an RB26 is 2.6 litre, twin turbo, and stayed at a twin turbo means you get a little bit of, not the big turbo stuff which you're probably going to look at, but you get like a nice smooth curve of power all the way through the car. So that's the showpiece. Carbon bonnet, HID headlights, and these are very, very special wheels. Obviously Work Emotions A little bit scuffed, of course, these things have been in and out of a few car parks, but this is driven all the time. This isn't a show pony. This car has been driven every day. The only thing I will say about four-door Japanese cars is that when it comes to the interior, they just...
It now looks like it was when it was standard then.
Yes.
But it is still standard.
I would say a little bit of bucket seats might just, you know, up this a little bit, but the original good
It's
old...
kind of like the opposite to a sleeper.
Yeah, it's like it's the opposite of sleeper. Really exciting on the outside, but quite reserved on the inside and quite comfortable.
But no one sees the inside.
Pretty standard. I mean, it's uprated sound system, aftermarket ECU, snap-off steering wheel. You know, all the stuff you kind of need. There's a button there in the middle. I don't know what it does, but I'm sure it's exciting. If you just go down a little bit, to see beside the gear lever. I don't think we should touch it. I don't know. Maybe it's
a Jigsaw seat show.
It could be, but blacked out rear windows. Obviously, this is one of the funkiest parts of the car. Just check out this body kit, Josh. It's so different than, you know, you've seen the...
So this is like a genuine...
This is a genuine kit they sold. Not a lot of them you'd see, but it is a Euros kit. It's actually something they sold off the shelf. And this car was the first R34, obviously four-door in the world, to have this kit.
Yeah.
And it's the original kit that was launched at the Tokyo Auto Salon all those years ago by Ken Nomura. So that's pretty cool. So it's got a little bit of heritage, a little bit of history that you want from a car. And uprated brakes, it's got turbo brakes front and back, which obviously needed to be done. It's got a couple of other bits and pieces, uprated clutch, and a very important, since I've had it, Nismo two-way differential in the back, which means this thing does skids for days, which is what you want from a big bus like this. I personally think the color wheels with the bronze wheels, the pearl white paint, the body kit, I think suits this car down to the ground. In fact, I like it more than some of the sort of regular body kits you'll see on R34s, and carbon bonnet and an RB2600 bonnet. Josh, that is the perfect car because it's rare, because it's four-door, it's got the engine from the GTR, and it stands out, it looks amazing. I think I've got this one in the bag.
It may be nice, but this week, it's mine.
All right, Josh, you brought something a bit special to the party this week. I will give you credit. This is
something
a car,
better to the party.
I wouldn't say better, but it's interesting. I've seen this car a couple of times before.
Yeah, this car comes down to our Drift Games practice days and does drift.
This is owned by Shane Mooney.
Shane Mooney, yeah.
This car has a bit of aura about it. I'll give it that. It's got a bit of presence in here.
Yeah.
But I feel that you have absolutely no idea what's in this car. So I don't think you're going to win this one this week.
You're right. I didn't know much about this car. But like on the last episode that we did on the MX-5s, a lot of people were saying they wanted to know more specifics, they want to know more facts, and more in detail.
Were they calling you us idiots online?
Some of the comments were a bit mean, but yes, they were calling us idiots essentially. So, to get rid of this one, I prepared a list.
You prepared it? Let me see. Oh,
the spelling.
Secretive list.
I'm not going to give a good, if anyone screenshots that, the spellings on here are atrocious.
Well, it's you, so I wouldn't expect any of that. So you've made a list, and now you're going to convince me from a list why this car is better than the R34.
Well, the list is for the people watching, but I can convince you on the look, so let's
take a tour.
Okay, where do you want to start?
Well, let's start with the front.
Should we start under the bonnet like you?
Yeah, start under the bonnet. Okay, well, that's where I started. I got a little bit trigger happy and I went straight under the bonnet.
Right. So I saw that he gave like a... That's not on the facts list, that's just apparently what you need to do.
So, I mean, the bonnet, to me...
Oh, crap.
Oh, you got stuck now, have you? There's got to be a latch.
There we go.
Oh, it's shiny.
So the first... Yeah.
It's pretty shiny under there.
This car was imported from Japan.
I think everyone would know that, all right, Josh. They didn't sell them in the dealership.
Surprisingly, this is not an Irish car.
Wow, okay. This list could get better as it goes.
It's a 2003 Mark II, which is the newest version of this model before they went to the MKX. And this was the last model that came with the 1JZ. So it's on the 1JZ.
1JZ, yeah. Original 1JZ in there.
So as fancy as it looks on the outside, the internals are all standard.
Oh, so a standard engine, essentially. Not much else around it.
The internals of the engine are standard, but it has a Precision 5858 turbo, complemented by a 6-boost manifold.
See, that's nice. That's a big
With
turbo and a race manifold. Hold on, this car has a reg on it. So is this a road car?
Yeah, fully road legal. We get there. We get
With
there.
a race manifold?
With a race manifold, with a 46mm precision wastegate.
Okay.
Which makes some nice sounds.
It does actually make a lot of nice sounds.
It does. Mapped on a Link ECU.
Yeah, we like them.
With HKS injectors and a Warbo pump.
Yeah, nice job done here, to be fair.
Which is candy red, to be very specific on there.
It's very tidy, I will give it that.
And a little fun fact.
What's this?
That is the heat shield of the newest Micra.
Nissan Micra.
Nissan Micra, the newest Micra, the fancy, well not...
There's no fancy Micra.
Just the newest Micra.
Okay, that's interesting. Do you know what's caught my eye now? While I was just, these little nozzles, I presume they put water on the rad, they push around, there's a pump onto, that's very clever.
Cooling it down.
Cooling it down?
Cooling it down. So you get more laps for your time.
More laps for your time.
More laps for your time.
That t-shirt.
Yep.
Nice.
It's a catchphrase.
Okay, so have we finished on the bottom or is there more goodies under here?
Okay, so it's...
the figures. We want to know
the
power-wise,
figures.
yeah.
It runs at 1.7 bar boost.
1.7 bar.
Would you like to guess the horsepower, taking into account standard internals?
It couldn't be pushing more than 450 maybe?
480.
Wow.
On standard fuel.
Standard fuel.
And this is driven on the road.
And I mean,
as a daily.
I don't want to show the reg too much, but this is a standard, well not standard road car obviously, but a car that's driven around.
Yeah.
On pump fuel.
Daily.
Standard fuel pump?
No, Walbro. I said that before. Are you listening to me?
So this is a standard fuel, 1.7 bar boost road car.
Yep.
That runs 485 horsepower.
Yep.
That, I'm not saying a bet here, but I'm just saying there's some stuff going on there.
I'm just going to close this so you don't get distracted anymore, because obviously
it's very distracting.
Compared to...
No, I mean, it's still in the fight here. It's got an RB26. This is only a measly 1J.
The outside?
Tell me through the outside. It's a good looking car.
Okay, so this is a Vertex kit. And my favorite thing, the thing that I always find stood out about this car is the bonnet, which is a BN Sport bonnet. And
it is very aggressive.
It almost like it doesn't make sense. It sort of goes down so much there with such like a dip.
That is true. Yeah.
And still clears absolutely everything.
It's actually a very functional.
It just gives it an aggressive feel, I think, to the front of the car, and I think that's...
And it's quite wide on the front as well. So like I got it, like for a road car, it's a very wide front track, right? Check that out. Yeah. So this is obviously some sort of steering lock kit that's been put on this, right?
It has... Bear me 2 seconds. Heyman lock kit.
Well, it's cut knuckles. It's essentially they take a standard Toyota knuckle and they modify it. I was talking to Shane while you were too busy admiring his car, and he was saying that they actually take standard Toyota parts and modify them specifically. They're actually next door to Daigo Saito in Japan. Is where
no way.
There you go. Even I've got some facts. Not even on your list.
He didn't tell me that for the list. So the standard arches were obviously too small. So we got, I'm not too sure the name of the arches, but he had to extend them out. So all this bit here is extended to cover the wheels up because the lock kit pushed it out so much. It does look
good. It's got a good stance to the front of that car, to be fair.
Yeah. It's not too low, like obviously all the people will be doing this.
That's the thing to do. That's
the thing to do. Like you can fit a fist in there even, I'd say.
But it still works because it's functional.
But it still looks good. I don't think it takes it away from the car.
No, I think it's black, it helps, I think.
Maybe that could be it.
Yeah, well, let's take a little tour around.
Gander mirrors.
Ganador mirrors, which you thought were Gandalf mirrors earlier, I overheard you saying. Not a Lord of the Rings reference, they're Ganador.
What do you say,
Ganador.
Ganador?
Yeah, Ganador mirrors.
I put Ganda.
So the rear wheels are different than the front wheels, I can see that straight away. So this is obviously a drift car, so
yep.
That is
so obviously, the rear wheels are wed.
They're quite nice, the blue.
Which is the same as the studs, if anyone was wanting to know. Oh, so wed studs.
And then these are what on the fronts? These
front Hyper Zeros.
Yeah, I was just about to say. Very nice mix and combo.
Which I'm not usually too into the different styles of alloys on front and back, but it does seem to work. It sort of gives it something a bit.
I kind of like
different.
The blue tint on the back. I think that's a bit, just a bit of funkiness there that, you know, I quite like.
Even though there's not much. Well, there's no other blue bar the studs on the car, but it does.
What I've noticed here, Josh,
well.
is the rear exhaust is pointing down.
Well, it's a full custom exhaust, and
so obviously a little bit of effort put in to keep it quiet because it should.
Usually, I'm not too sure if pointing it down was down to keeping the sound levels down, or just because it looks cool. Because it does look quite cool.
It does look cool, but I think it might be just to put the sound down to the ground, maybe to dissipate a little bit, so it's not as noisy as track days.
Maybe.
It's on your list though.
It's
Can't
not.
use it against me.
It's not on the list, but we shall assume.
Has this thing got a cage? And I didn't even notice this.
Yep, it's a Sato cage. So I'm guessing this is just one that you buy because it's a dash dodger here. So
Yeah.
obviously,
I'm gonna open that front door.
like it is actually quite a nice car on the inside.
Do you know what? As interiors go, which are usually woeful on four-door cars, it's got a little bit of a beep there. We're just gonna take that out there for a minute.
There you go.
So it actually has quite a nice interior, to be fair.
Yeah, like it's not bad.
Yeah, you've got the dash dodger cage, narrow steering wheel.
To say it's a 2003 as well. What year is the Skyline?
It's a 99, I think.
So there's only 4 years in the difference, and I
It
would
does have a lot more going. Like it's a lot more plush.
It's more
on
of
the
a.
inside.
It does look more of a luxury
And
car.
do you know what
I'd
I quite
say.
like? Because you know when you have a luxury car, but then you put obviously the cage and the brides and everything in.
And obviously you can
I quite
see
like that look.
no hydro handbrake, so obviously keeps it Japanese style.
Just a little drift button there.
Yep.
Nice.
Just to stop it clicking
So
up.
this is obviously Shane, obviously a big, JDM drift guy. He likes to keep it core to its roots. So you don't have a hydro handbrake.
No.
Gnarly steering wheel. I've just noticed there's no cheap parts on this car. Everything is original Japanese.
It's been done right.
So anything else interesting before we wrap this up? And there's a lot going on in this car. I will say I'm quite impressed.
This surprised me, but he did ensure me. IKEA Formula rear arms.
Yeah, but IKEA Formula is very different than the place that makes furniture, Josh.
Okay, so underneath what we can't really film or see is a ORC twin plate clutch. It's got
This list is working in your favor here, Josh.
Yeah, I know, right? An ATS two-way diff. Would you like to guess? Oh, I'm not even sure.
Would I like to guess how many ways it has?
I was going to say guess the final drive, but you kind of have to know.
How would I guess the final?
Yeah, I realized that. I just saw a number and I want you to guess. A 4.1 final drive.
All right, so pretty kind of a conservative gear ratio. Well, it is a car driven on the road, remember? So both of these cars are driven on the road, but these are impressive cars. To be honest, irregardless of who wins
You know what?
this.
This is gone. It's out.
This is out, finished. Irregardless who wins this, it's pretty impressive that these two cars live in Ireland. I think that's pretty crazy to think that these machines of this caliber. But that leaves us with one thing to do, Josh, and that's sit down and argue it out over which car is best.
Let's debate.
Okay, so I started strong on episode 1. I won that one.
I would say I felt like I did lose fair and square the first one, but this one, I feel I got a strong one. I'm confident with mine.
Okay, let's talk it out. So we've got two very unique four-door cars, with big engines, big power, and you have a long list of parts. However,
Long list of parts. I've got everything on the car.
yeah, but Brian's has a good story.
It has the
A
story.
very good story. Ken Nomura, a legend, built the car for the Tokyo Auto Salon. It's the first car to ever wear that body kit. It's got an RB26 from everyone's dream car. This just has a 1JZ. You can find a 1JZ everywhere. R34 GTR engines are not common.
They may not be common, but I don't think it's a show car.
It's not a show car anymore. It's driven on the roads in Ireland every day, so it's going to have a little bit of wear and tear there. But it's such a special car. It doesn't look like anything else.
See, but you say it doesn't look like anything else. This literally doesn't look like anything else. There's a lot of I would say not four-door, that's very unique to the car. But there's a lot of R34s that give or take look roughly the same.
I would argue that point. However, I would agree that Shane Mooney's car has the spec to die for. If you're a JDM drift fan, it has the right wheels, the right seats, the right parts. It doesn't have anywhere on the car, which I like, that's cheap. Everything was done, and you can tell every single modification there was some thought.
Even the cage, you can barely tell the cage is in there because it's all the black stuff. I didn't get a spec list.
You need the spec list to argue your point. What I will say is the R34 arrived on Irish shores very much as you see it now.
Yeah.
This car has been a labour of love by Shane Mooney, and I like the fact that you can tell because each of the parts are so well sourced from Japan or so unique that he's put a lot of time into every single purchase in the car. It wasn't just what was available for sale in the country at that time. There was another car for braking. He's ordered parts very, very unique to his taste.
It's built over time with the right parts that anybody building this car would want.
And that's why I think the car has such a huge following, because it is so well done. It even has more power than the R34 GTR engine in that car, so that's impressive from a 1JZ.
Which mine is 480.
Yeah, that car is running about 410. So it's a little bit more horsepower.
So even though you say you've got a better engine, this one is just better.
It's got more power.
You've even got 2 turbos. This just has one and it's doing
But
that.
they're stock turbos, so it's got the feel of an R34 GTR in there, not like a crazy drift machine. But I will give it this thing. I've seen it on track. It absolutely shreds, and Shane can drive it as well.
Yeah.
Now that's not taking away from Brian Stone. He can drive as well, but that car is a little bit far away from a track day car, in my opinion. It's got a lot of work.
Well, they're both roadway.
Yeah, but if you're driving through a town, the R34 I think is going to get more attention. However, if you're a car fan,
are you kidding me? This thing with a wastegate and the exhaust and then
it's white, it's wide, it's got a unique kit.
when you turn it on, it sounds like swords come out of a metal thing holster.
That's what this car sounds like. Yeah, but you're not going to turn the car on and off in the middle of a town 4 times. It's
To get attention, you would.
It's a black car just going through a town. Now, I will say if you rev it up and it's got 1.7 bar boost, that's quite impressive. I think on this particular argument, the 34 has the best story as it landed in Ireland.
But the thing is, a story isn't everything about the car.
No, it's not. It's a better story, but this car was built here with the best parts from Japan. And I think, from my perspective, it's probably one of the nicest Mark IIs in Europe. And I think the fact that it's still got a reg plate on there, can still be driven on the road. Both of these cars driving on the road at one time would be pretty crazy to see. Maybe we'll get a video of that someday. But in this particular episode, Josh, I'm going to concede. I'm going to give it a 1-1 on the first 2 episodes of Head to Head. And the winner is Shane Mooney's Mark II. Thank you for watching episode 2 of Head to Head. It's just a fun little show that me and Josh put together. I mean, what do you think? Did we make the right call? Would you prefer the Mark II or the R34? Do you think Josh cheated by having a list, which I think is completely unfair and not even learning what's right with the car?
I learned from the list.
Okay, fair enough. We'll talk about this when the cameras stop rolling. However, what cars do you want to see us argue over on Head to Head? What's our next category? Give us your suggestions. And of course, if you like either of these 2 cars and you want to see them back on track very, very soon, well, let us know in the comment section. Remember to subscribe for all the greatest action coming up on Drift Games. And until the next time, we'll see you later.